Was it the job? Was it the relationship? The diagnosis? The health crisis? The moment the whole structure of your life just gave out? The moment everyone around you treated like it was a disaster? That some part of you, in the very back of your body, in a place you weren't ready to admit yet, it felt something almost like relief. That's the tower. It's not what people think it is. Hi guys, I'm MJ. Welcome to the Arcana Surrender, a major arcana series for people who are learning tarot, for people who are rebuilding their intuition, or doing both. I'm going to be working through all 22 cards of the Major Arcana, one video at a time, using my own deck, the Arcana Surrender Tarot. I made this deck specifically for neurodivergent brains like mine, for people who are late diagnosed, ADHD, ADHD, for highly sensitive folk, burnt out people, or all of it. I made it Major Arcana only on purpose. I do believe the Major Arcana deserves our full attention before we add anything else, especially while learning tarot. The 22 first cards of the tarot, they are the foundation, the archetypes. They're the big themes of a human life. And if you learn them deeply, if we take our time, and if we let them become part of our lives and part of how we think, if they become automatic for us, everything else in tarot opens up. So we're going to be taking our time here, no rushing through, just you, me, and these 22 cards. One video at a time. Subscribe if you want to be here for it. And if you want to read with this deck yourself, the link will be in the description. The Tower is card number 16 in the Major Arcana. And before we go anywhere else, I'll need to talk about what you're looking at. Because this card, if you've seen a tarot deck before, it probably looks really different from every other tarot tower card you've seen. It's a sandcastle, not a stone fortress, not a tower with permanence. It's a sandcastle. It's detailed, carefully constructed, and built in sand and on sand, surrounded by waves in a lightning storm. I made that choice on purpose because I think traditional tower images, it misses something important to me. When we picture a stone fortress being struck by lightning, it feels like an attack on something that was solid. But most of the tower moments in our lives, the collapses, the moments everything just fell apart, they weren't attacks on something solid. Something we might have thought was solid, but they're usually waves that finally reach something that was never built to hold. Look at what the sandcastle is sitting on. Gold. Not rubble, not wreckage, not even sand. Gold nuggets piled at the base. What gets revealed when a sandcastle collapses isn't nothing. It's what was always underneath. And the lightning striking it, also gold. It's not a punishment strike. It's an illumination. It's something being lit up so you can finally see what's been there the whole time. Outside the frame on the right, you'll see an umbrella. It's open, lying on its side. The things that used to shelter you don't work against a tower moment. You can't umbrella your way through this one. It's scary in the moment. And down in the waves, you see a bottle, a message being carried through the chaos toward somewhere. Even in the middle of the collapse, something is still being sent to you. Something's moving. The storm clouds at the top are gold, warm, like the storm came from somewhere lit, not from somewhere cold. This whole card is saying to you, this was always going to happen, and look what it's revealing. Let's talk traditional tarot for a minute. In traditional tarot, the Tower is the card that everyone dreads pulling. It's the card of sudden disruption, collapse. The structures we've built, our careers, relationships, sense of self, everything gets struck by lightning and crumbles. People are falling from the top. Everything you thought was stable is unstable. And traditionally, the Tower doesn't take down things that were meant to stay up, however much we wanted them to stay up. It takes down things that were built on sand, on unstable ground, on illusions, on fear, on your bosses' or parents' expectations, on the versions of ourselves we constructed to survive rather than to actually live. When the Tower shows up upright in a reading, traditionally, it almost always signals that something is either collapsing or it's about to. It represents a sudden change, a truth that restructures everything around it. It feels catastrophic in the moment, and often later on, in hindsight, it'll look like the thing that finally freed you, even though it's hard in the moment. If you pull this card reverse, it usually means just about the same thing, but it's slower. The collapse is happening a little more slowly. It can show up reversed if you're also feeling a lot of resistance towards change. Like you're holding everything together by sheer force of will, usually at big cost to yourself, your health, and your mental health. In a spread, the Tower is one of those cards that shows up when it needs to and not necessarily when we want it to. It usually appears when something's been building for a long time, when a situation's become too much, and that the only path forward is through the collapse and not around it. Most readers will tell you the Tower is one of the hardest cards in the deck, and I'd like to push back on that a little. Here's why. Burnout is a Tower moment almost always. It's not always the dramatic kind. It's not always the day you get let go or the morning you couldn't get out of bed. Sometimes it's slower than that. For me, it was the day I couldn't get out of bed. But it doesn't mean it's the same for everyone. Sometimes it's realizing that the life you've been living, the version of yourself you've been performing, the masking, everything you've been holding up, none of it was actually working for you. It's that moment of realization. It was working for everybody else. It's working for the job. It's working for the expectations, for the masking, the image of yourself as someone who can handle it all. But it's quietly, steadily destroying you. That's the sandcastle. That's what we built. Not out of malice or stupidity. Because we're not dumb. We built it out of necessity. We built it out of survival. We built what we had to build with the materials we were given in the conditions we were in. And for a while, it held. We made it hold. We were impressive at making it hold. But it was always on sand. It was always meant to go. For those of us who are neurodivergent, highly sensitive, or late diagnosed. The tower hits differently. It's a lot of what we built that was specifically designed to hide what we were. The overperforming, the masking, the way we learned to become what the world needed of us, what the world needed us to be, at humongous personal cost. We did it for so long that we genuinely forgot there was anything else underneath. We weren't just building on sand. We were building on sand while also pretending the sand was concrete and getting very good at that pretending. And then something happens. The diagnosis, the breakdown, the burnout, the wave. The whole structure comes down. Here's what I want you to notice about the card. The gold was always there. It was always there underneath the castle, under the performance, under everything you built to survive. The lightning didn't create it. The collapse didn't create it. It uncovered it. That's the thing about tower moments. Nobody tells us when you're in the middle of one, but the collapse isn't the end of the story. It's like the ground clearing. It's the moment you finally get to find out what was there before you started building things on top of it. And the umbrella lying on its side outside the frame? Well, in a tower moment, the things that used to make you feel safe won't work. All the coping strategies, the way we managed before, the tools we used to get through all the bullshit, they won't work. It's asking you to be in the storm. It's asking you not to shelter from it. Because what you find on the other side of a tower moment, oh my God, if we let ourselves actually go through it, rather than try to umbrella our way through a lightning storm, we'll find gold. And the message in the bottle? Something's still moving through the chaos. We're still communicating, still reaching, still sending something forward. Even if we can't see it or feel it in the moment. Even when we're in the middle of the waves, the tower doesn't silence us. It just changes. Well, it changes a lot, but it changes what we're saying. What does this card ask of us? It asks us to stop treating the collapse as the worst thing that ever happened to us. In the moment, it can feel like it. But the tower asks us to get curious about what's underneath. Not immediately, because we're allowed to sit in the wreckage for a while. That's important. It's part of it. But at some point when we're ready, the tower, it asks us to look down, to see the gold that the castle was sitting on the whole time. It asks us to ask, what if this wasn't the disaster? What if it was the reveal? If you have the tower in your deck, pull it out now. Look at the sandcastle. Look at the gold underneath it. I want you to ask yourself this. What in my life right now was built on sand? Not with judgment, just with honesty. What structure, identity, or even what version of yourself and situation was never actually built to hold what you were putting onto it? And then, what's the gold? What's been underneath this whole time that the structure was sitting on top of without you being able to see? You don't have to answer today, but let yourself start looking. That brings us to the end of this card. If it spoke to you, you can subscribe. We're going to go through all 22 Major Arcana cards together. And if you're new here, start from the beginning of the playlist. It's designed to be taken in order. If you want to read with this deck as well, the link for it will be in the description below. Please also drop in the comments what came up for you with this one. I will read every single one.